Coco, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey as to how you kind of became a realtor, and then we'll kind of talk about how you got into the investment side and everything else as well.
Okay. Yeah, so I got my start actually right when I was graduating high school. I was interested in this idea of buying a home near the university I was planning on attending, living in one of the bedrooms, renting out the rest. So I didn't know anything about real estate investing or what was involved. I didn't even know like how do you calculate a mortgage payment or anything whatsoever, but just had this bug, started researching it, found some more information, and then around that time, I was speaking to my parents, trying to help them figure out their retirement. Right, they were getting a little bit older. They didn't have any kind of pension or any way to retire, so I started exploring this world of investing. This was before I was even a real estate agent. I partnered up with them, and we started to purchase investment properties together. And then more recently, after I had done that for a good few years, decided, you know what, this was something that I had an interest in. I wanted to be more involved in real estate in my career as well as in investing. So that's when I got my real estate license. Started out by helping investors find investment properties. I was living in Mississauga at this time. We were looking in Hamilton. I had invested myself in Barrie, in Kitchener, Cambridge, right? But around that time, the market started taking off, and then I realized I need to find a place that has potential for the next couple of years, not just for the short term. So around that time, I moved to the city of St. Catharines in the Niagara region. So that's where I live right now, and I decided to shift all of my own investing to this area, right?
Hmm.
Really hone down, find the different opportunities, figure out the rules in terms of adding legal basement suites and everything else that's involved. And yeah, that's how I sort of got my start, even as a realtor, starting with helping investors, and uh, yeah, it's been a bit of a ride.
For sure, for sure. How have you found working with investors? What are some of the challenges and the I guess the rewards and everything that kind of comes along with that? Because it's obviously a little bit different than if you're just doing, you know, regular residential, just helping single families and buy and sell their homes, right?
Yeah, yeah. So working with investors, actually, it's been a good experience for me, specifically when I got started, because I didn't have any experience as a real estate agent, so I
Hmm.
was brand new in the game. But I had this experience of owning investment properties. So when I was helping clients, I could talk to their concerns, their fears, what they needed to watch out for, and I could almost help them by showing them, okay, this is what you do to find a tenant. This is how you screen to find a good tenant. These are the things that a tenant's going to look for in a home. So you want to buy a home in a good area. This is how you invest well, and that really helped me get my start as an agent. In terms of helping investors, I find that because I have invested in rentals myself,
Hmm.
I can really speak to what they're looking for, right? I can talk to their fears, I can address their concerns, I can also help them figure out what is the best style of investing for them.
Hmm.
Because there's a lot of different investment strategies that work, but they don't all work for everyone, right? So a big part of the work I do is helping to determine with each client, okay, you want to invest in real estate, that's the starting point. Now let's decide together what are your goals and what's the investment property that's going to help you achieve those goals. Some of my clients don't want to do any renovations. They want just turnkey homes that from start to finish it's done. They just rent it out. They want to do nothing more. Others are really in the renovation side. They're getting permits. They're making properties into legal duplexes. There's a lot more work. Others want to buy existing triplexes, fourplexes, multifamilies, right? So everyone's coming at it with a slightly different objective.
Hmm.
So part of my goal is to line them up with, okay, what's the best style of investing for you, not just what's the most profitable style of investing. Because some of my clients are extremely busy professionals where the potential profit of doing renovations, creating equity doesn't actually excite them at all. They'd rather focus more on their own work and make more money, right?
Hmm.
So it's about lining up the right type of investment property for the right investor. Um, so yeah, that's been a big part of the work that I've been doing.
I guess if you want to kind of touch on how investing kind of fits into your life, and maybe as you kind of talked about the different styles of investing, what kind of style maybe you kind of tend to focus in on a little bit more, or are you kind of dabble in some various aspects?
Yeah, so my own journey in investing has been quite sporadic, to be very honest, right? So like I mentioned, the first property that I bought with my family was up in Barrie. It was a townhouse. The next one was a semi-detached home in Cambridge. Bought some student rental condos. Then bought a fourplex. Then did a duplex conversion. So it's really been all over the place. One of my duplexes I made into Airbnb. So I've dabbled in all these different styles of investing, but now I've got to the point where I've almost had to have the conversation with myself that I have with my clients, where it's okay, what are your goals and what's going to get you there? And what I've realized is a big part of my own investing has to be such that I'm not spending a whole lot of time on it. I don't want to manage my own properties anymore. All of my rentals, I've handed it off to a property manager, where I'm managing the manager, and just making sure things are going well. In terms of the actual style of investing, I've had several shifts myself, right? So I currently own 7 rental properties, 5 of which are with partners, and I've decided that moving forward, I don't actually want to own properties with partners. Nothing wrong with partnerships per se. It's just in my life, I got to this point where I realized, hey, I don't need to own 100 rental properties. If I own a good few, this is going to be my retirement plan. This is going to build my wealth while I work as a realtor. This is my business that I'm going to run. So I want to have it working on the side for me, but I don't want it to take up all my time. So by me owning a few rental properties, there's less that I need to think about. I can move faster if decisions need to be made. I'm not sort of discussing it with partners. I'm just getting it done. So in my own investing, I am focusing on properties that have some kind of value add. So one of the recent purchases I made is a property that has a potential piece of land that I can sever. Another property that I've recently purchased. So these are the two most recent purchases I made on my own. The next one I bought is a duplex conversion. So I'm making the basement into a legal basement apartment. And the goal is, once it's done, I want to try to get it refinanced at a higher value, because I've added value by creating a legal duplex.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be my go-to in terms of the style of investing that I'm going to do. But I very honestly decided to almost take a back seat with my own investing and let it happen organically, instead of really pushing to grow a massive portfolio. I just find that with rental properties, the income that we make is more of a longer term strategy. So even though every property I buy will be cash flow positive, it's not really money I think that I can use today, right? My business as a realtor is what pays for my life, right? So this is the business I'm going to focus most of my energy on. The investment properties are the income that's going to serve me 20, 30 years from now. So I want to put some attention to it to build it up so that I do have a retirement plan, but it's not something that, like, I find if I buy a property a year, that's almost all that I need, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this way I get to focus most of my time on my business. And I find with every property you buy, there's a whole lot of work that comes. You're doing renovations, you're finding tenants. There's all these little things that come up, which is fine, right? It's part of the gig. You get paid for it, right, with the equity you build. But I don't necessarily want to do 10 a year, right? And like that's where I had a little shift of, hey, what serves my life? Having a small rental portfolio, small relatively speaking, right? Many people may say if you have like 10 properties, you're
It's
you're
a
ahead.
lot.
That's a lot, right? But there's also investors I know that have 100 rental properties. But to me, that doesn't excite me, because the idea of managing 100 properties with 100, 200 tenants, you literally are now in the property management business, which is fine if that's what you want to do. But if you already have a career, if you already have, like in my case, I have a business, I want to focus on this business, right? And let this business pay for more rental purchases, right? And for my life. But that's been the evolution of my own thinking. So now instead of trying out all these different strategies, I've decided to, okay, let's hone down, let's look for, I'll still be flexible. I'm always looking for opportunities, but I want it to align with my own goals. So I don't want to deviate from this strategy. So every property I buy needs to be a property that is in an area I have a good manager who can take care of it from day one. I don't want to be involved into the day in the day to day. And each property needs to have some kind of value add, right? Because this is the field of my focus, right? So why not use that a little bit to my advantage by finding, good opportunities?
What do you like to do when you're not buying real estate, selling real estate, doing anything with real estate?
Yeah, so one of our loves, me and my wife, we love to travel. We haven't actually had the opportunity to travel that much so far, but that's on our radar. So next year, well, by the time you're watching this video, who knows when it'll be, but one of our one of our loves is to travel. So we have plans to travel to Japan, Korea. We want to go to Europe. We want to go to Asia. Right? There's a lot of places we want to visit. So that's big on our plates. And another area that I've been focusing a lot on outside, in a funny way, it's related to business, but it's separate from business, which is personal growth and self development. And I know it's kind of a catch topic. Everyone talks about it nowadays, but it's been something I've been focusing on myself for the last couple of years, and I found it's had massive impact on my business, but even just in my own life, in the relationships I have with my family, having tough conversations, telling people when, you feel hurt by them, like being willing to be vulnerable, right? These things are not things that you ever get taught at school. You don't ever get taught how to express your emotions, right? But what I find is that this is probably one of the areas that is almost most important in order to be happy, to be like content, right? So that's been big on my plate, but definitely for the last couple of years, my work has taken up so much of my time that I've almost not had enough space to relax, have more hobbies, and yeah, that's something that I want to spend a bit more time developing as well.
For sure, for sure. That's great. I'm running out here.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think that's good.
that's good. All right.